When we think of abundance, we tend to think about what we want to receive, which is really important. But what if the real secret also lies in what we give? In this video, I'm going to share the story of a CEO who created immense material wealth and transformation through leading with generosity and an awakened heart. And stay tuned, because I'm also going to share 6 practical steps to help you manifest through your own innate generosity, creating a flow of abundance that benefits not only you, but the people around you. I want to share a story from Lisa Miller's amazing book, The Awakened Brain. Bob Chapman was the CEO of a manufacturing company, and the company was faced with bankruptcy. Bob had had a very traditional business education, and he had tended to see people, employees, as kind of units of labor, just expendable resources who could be let go when they were no longer valuable. But then one day he had an awakening. He'd gone to his friend's daughter's wedding and he watched her walk down the aisle, and he suddenly had this epiphany that every single employee, and there were 12,000 of them in the company, were somebody's precious child, and that his role on this planet was to lead them with compassion and care, seeing them as real human beings. So he's faced with this bankruptcy, and what you would normally do in that kind of situation is make a lot of people redundant, okay? Fire people so that you can save money and, satisfy shareholders. But Bob did something radically different. He decided to actually reduce his annual salary to $10,000. And he asked everybody in the company to take 1 month of unpaid leave. So everybody would have a little bit of a hit, but it meant that every single person could keep their job. And something completely unexpected happened. People started to spontaneously care for each other. They would volunteer to take a month off extra so that somebody else could benefit if they were in a worse financial situation. People started looking out for each other, and they hadn't been asked to do that by the CEO. And the company began to transform, and it went from being in a state of bankruptcy to absolutely thriving. He actually transformed it so much that it was worth $3 billion in the end. And the material wealth that Bob Chapman generated was, of course, incredible, but it was also his own inner transformation that really mattered, that he felt connected to and loving towards these people. And that was the key to unlocking the abundance and the success of the entire company. So why does this work? Why is giving a key part of creating abundance? The universal law of attraction says that we often receive what we give. And Wayne Dyer says, if our energy towards the universe is saying, take, 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 then the universe is going to take, take, take from us. Whereas if we are saying to the universe, how may I serve? The universe is going to say back to us, how may I serve you? When we're in a state of giving, we are also in an abundance mindset, okay? We are saying, I have something to give. I am valuable, okay? And then the universe reflects back, you are valuable. And we're also saying that we have more than enough, okay? And then the universe is going to give us more than enough. Rhonda Byrne, who is the famous author of the book The Secret, says, giving is a powerful action to bring more money into your life, because when you are giving, you are saying, I have plenty. And so then the universe reflects this back, and it's going to say, I have plenty to give you. Also, as you heard from the story of Bob Chapman, generosity is actually more contagious. When one life is more generous, we all prosper. Okay, and when people see acts of kindness, they tend to be more likely to do acts of kindness themselves. So when you start being generous, you're going to notice people being more generous towards you as well. But what can stop us from really leaning into our innate generosity? I really want to acknowledge that generosity is not actually easy. Okay, and it can be particularly challenging if you have faced hardship, if you've grown up in poverty, if you've seen your family having to work very hard for every penny, if you have struggled to make ends meet, if you've faced difficult life circumstances, These are all reasons why it's likely that we will develop a scarcity mindset, and it's completely understandable. You know, we think that if things were hard to come by, then we should cling on to them, or that if we give away what we have, then maybe people will take advantage of us. But here's the thing, giving is not about putting yourself in difficult circumstances or giving away the material resources that you have and that you may very well need. It really can be so small. It can be as simple as offering a smile to somebody, holding a door open for them, you know, giving somebody a kind word. So if you feel sort of triggered and anxious when we get into this conversation about being kind, it really is okay. Be kind to yourself, and you can gently look into, okay, what's coming up for me? What beliefs might I have, understandably so, that are causing me to feel like it's difficult for me to give? And sometimes even just acknowledging the beliefs that we have can sort of start to loosen the hold that they have over us. I want to share something kind of personal here, okay? Because I used to really struggle with being in touch actually with my own generosity. About 15 years ago, I started going to the Insight Meditation Centre in London where I lived at the time. And I remember on the first class I ever went to, we were asked to do generosity practice as our homework. And I honestly felt so triggered. I felt this coldness in my heart. I didn't see myself as a generous person. And it almost made me angry that I was being asked to be generous. But what I did was, there was a doctor's surgery nearby where I lived, and the receptionists there were always so lovely and so helpful. So I went and got a really nice card, and I wrote a message in the card just thanking them for how lovely they were, and it was anonymous because that was actually part of the homework. We weren't allowed to tell the person who we were. Okay, so I went and I left this anonymous card in the doctor's surgery, and it felt nice, it felt good. But then a few weeks later, when I actually needed to go to the doctor, I went in and I saw that they had pinned the card on the wall. And it meant so much to me that they had valued that gesture enough to literally pin it up and have it as something that they would see every day. And it truly did awaken something within me and helped me get in touch with my innate generosity and understand that even though I felt resistance to it, that really is part of who I truly am. So it really is about cultivating a sense of abundance, starting exactly where you are. And it can be very, very small things, okay? But be kind to yourself. This is not about forcing anything. It's about an evolution that's going to happen over time and that's going to make you feel more and more abundant as you practice and as you evolve. So before I get into the practical steps about how you can manifest with your innate generosity, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow and spread these messages to more and more people. So how can we actually start to really cultivate this generosity in ourselves so that we can then create a flow of abundance? The first thing is actually just to tap into your intention. Get in touch with the fact that this is something that you want to amplify into your life. You can actually do that when you're taking some time in the morning, if you meditate or if you're sitting quietly, to just say, please allow me to become more generous, to explore my kindness. The second thing is to acknowledge any resistance. Remember to be really kind for yourself and ask yourself, what is coming up for me? And where does this fear or discomfort stem from? And just allow yourself to trust that deep down you are an inherently generous person, and you are on a journey towards connecting with that and actually unlocking it in your life. The third thing is to just start. You don't actually have to feel generous before you start putting this into practice, because the feeling is actually going to emerge as you begin doing your acts of kindness every day. The fourth thing is just really starting small, okay? These don't have to be grand gestures and they don't have to be anything to do with money. Of course, if you want to give money to charity or donate to a cause that feels really aligned with you, by all means go and do that. But it's also just about small gestures, you know, that kind word, smiling at somebody in the street, looking out for your neighbour, holding a door open for somebody, giving somebody attention when they're feeling overlooked. All of these things are going to start unlocking your innate generosity and allowing you to get into the flow of abundance, of giving and receiving that you really want in your life. The fifth thing is to actually savor the feeling of generosity. Feel it in your heart. When you've done something and you get that little rush, you get that buzz, and you will get it once you start practicing, okay, allow yourself to absorb it, really savor it and store it in your being as a reference experience that you can go back to. I will not forget that experience of how I felt when I saw the card on the wall in the doctor's surgery. And I can actually recall that and feel it in my heart when I need to remind myself, no, you are a generous person, you're giving, and because you're giving, you're also receiving. And the sixth thing is to also note when people are generous to you, store that, drink it in, take it, enjoy it and honor it and be grateful for it, because that's also going to amplify your energy field, your positive vibration, and allow you to create more and more and more abundance. And actually, just one thing to avoid, I heard this from Ken Honda, who's like a manifesting expert, and he said it's really important that when we are giving, we're not kind of keeping track of what we are owed. It's not about, I've given this much, so therefore I should receive this much. You want to give without expectations, okay? And that's not about just exhausting all your resources. It's just trusting that in one way or another, the abundance and the generosity that you put out into the world will come back to you. It may well come back to you amplified, okay? But don't keep count, because that's going to block you from receiving what the universe really wants to send to you. So if you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: you are innately generous. And when you tap into that innate generosity, you can actually tune into the frequency of abundance and allow yourself to receive way, way more than you have been so far. So start small, get it going today, and allow yourself to understand yourself as the creator and manifester of limitless abundance of giving and receiving.